Well, hello, my friends. Thank you for tuning into the Orchid Chronicles. Apologies if the video is a little bit later than I wanted to make it. I had a couple of things to take care of. Um, just a heads up, if you are gone for several days for a holiday break and are watching a puppy simultaneously, it does take a little while to get back on track when you come back to your normal house. Anyway, um, gonna do a couple of quick updates. This is my microphase orchid. It's a terrestrial. It's huge. I just can't get over how big these leaves are. I really like the appearance of this plant. It's almost like a giant tropical platilla. It's a really cool orchid. Um, Everybody here seems to be doing okay. This is one of my paths. The Ludicea is sending up new growth from the base. Everybody here looks like they're doing well. Got a nice Phalaenopsis seed pod. Um, I wanted to show you guys a couple of exciting things with the dendrobiums over here. Um, so my dendrobium nobile has been putting out flower buds. If you look all along the stems, you can see flower buds there, flower buds there. They have flower buds on. You can see the bulge where the flower buds are going to pop out very soon. Let's see, where else does this thing have buds? I just gave it a little bit of water. Yeah, these flower buds are really coming along on the plant here. Some of the smaller spikes also, canes, sorry. Some of the smaller canes also have buds. Let's see, yep. You can see them on this cane. And, the plant seems to be doing really well. It has lost a couple of its leaves, but that's okay. They're supposed to do that. My cymbidium here has a new growth point. I don't know if I told you guys last year, I let some of these guys just go dormant. I would keep, there are always bagworms on my cymbidiums. And I don't know what this brown spotting is, but it doesn't seem to be spreading all through the plant. It kind of has stayed localized. This is damage on my Kingianum from slugs. But the dendrobium is developing some new buds and spikes and such. If you kind of look in the centers of some of these leaves, it's starting to poke out some new growth. It's got a new cane going there. Again, this time last year, this plant was pretty much dormant. I wasn't watering it, and I was keeping it at the drafty door so that it would be cool and dry. And I kind of just waited until I watered it in January to grow. I'm just kind of letting it run. I've had it outside until it got really cold, and I brought it back in, and it's putting out some buds. And I've been told when you see the buds appear, just resume watering normal. And so since I'd seen the buds appear, I'm just, kind of caring for it normally. You can see it's got some dark old growth. It's got some green new fresh growth. These plants are supposed to become these dense colonies, and that's what I'm aiming for with this. It's a very vigorous, rapid-growing plant. You can see it's got a keki on this stem, and then right, I really gotta get my video quality a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So it's got a bud popping out of that. I don't know what that's gonna become, but if you see here, this is the keki right here. It's starting to get some new growth there. I don't know what that, I'm hoping that bud becomes a flower. You can see it's kind of dividing into a couple of little subsections. And a few of the other developing buds are doing the same. That might be a double keki. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the dendrobium all over it has the kind of dormant bud eyes, and those can become kekis or they can just kind of stay dormant. I don't know what this plant is really doing. I'm just gonna kind of let it grow out. It's really cool. I do like the appearance of it. And yeah, there's this plant. One of my favorite orchids of all time, I gotta say. I've got another dendrobium up here. This is probably my best way of giving this tropical dendrobium enough light. You can see it's starting to get some new growth from the base. Hopefully this becomes a keki right here. Let's see. What else? Orchid tree. My, Wilsonaria has been putting up several flower stalks. You can see the buds are starting to differentiate. This thing becomes this large panicle when it's ready to actually bloom. It does take quite a bit for the flower to fully form and develop, but this will be quite a show, and I will sacrifice this stem for Mariclone culture because I'm going to pollinate these. Let me just show you guys in my wonderful refrigerator that for once in my life I'm actually taking up fridge space. I don't usually keep a lot of food on hand, and not all of it's for me. Like some of this fruit will go to some fly and roach specimens that I'm rearing for animal food. Um, like the energy drink is mine, the alcohol is mine. I'm like the only one in the house that drinks, I think. Um, but pretty much, I'm trying a couple of new things. Anyway, um, and then my animal and plant stuff. I gotta spritz that with some water in a sec. I have some dendrobium pollen, some cymbidium pollen, and some various Oncidium alliance orchid pollen in here. You can see the pollinia. Oh god damn! I just wish. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can see the pollinia right there. That's a really interesting structure for the plant to carry its pollen and get it to spread to pollinators. Um, you can store pollen. I just kind of like took some of that pollen from plants that are on sale at Shaw's, which is a grocery store, and I just put them in a little test tube, let them dry for a day or so, and then I kept it in the fridge so that the pollen stays fresh and alive. Just had to give this mantis egg case a little bit of water. Alright, moving on. I got a shipment of, I sold some of my extra insect stuff on the internet and used the money from that to buy some new orchids, although this is, what just fell? Anyway, this is an Arachnus. It's a Vanda Alliance plant. It looks a lot like an epidendrum, but it's probably dead because of the cold. I requested that the plants be shipped after Thanksgiving. The person accidentally shipped, well, I don't know if the person just misunderstood or they shipped it before Thanksgiving. So I had the package rerouted to my place in Connecticut where I was. But I think that there was a great deal. People, I hope it's at least warm outside so our driveway doesn't become an ice skating rink. Anyway, but a lot of the plants came cold damaged, um, and I did manage to extract some meristems from the really badly cold damaged ones and put them on tissue culture media. I will post a video of the, well, I didn't take a video of the process, but I will make a video including those next week when I do tissue culture updates. But basically, I'm trying to rescue them by extracting meristems and tissue culturing them out. I got some Cattleya Alliance plants that didn't really look too hot, and I also got some Oncidium Alliance plants that, for the most part, are okay. They seem to fare a little bit better and had very minimal cold damage, and I'm about to show those. So, this is one of the Cattleya that didn't look as bad. I did extract some material from it, so hopefully that tissue cultures out. This is, I believe, a Psychopsis. You can see it's got a new, initiated stem next to the kind of poorly damaged. So this looks like it's cold damaged. However, the new growth next to it looks healthy, so that should grow on and be fine. I might remove this. I don't know if it's harming the new growth. This looks like it's gotten a little bit worse, but some of the material is still firm, so I'm just going to hold that. This one was shipped with everybody and seems like it's doing fairly well. Oh wait, this is the Psychopsis. Sorry, this is something else. Some of the leaves seem to be doing poorly. Other leaves seem to be doing okay. I'm just gonna keep a hold of it. And then this guy seems like he did perfectly fine. I don't know if the large pseudobulb kind of insulates the plant, or if they're just naturally more cold hardy. I repotted the some of the Cattleya Alliance plants that I've been growing. I've got this guy that the pot Tricky loves. This guy just yielded a flower, a seed pod that I have the seeds. I'm waiting for those to germinate. And one of the others that guy back there, the Cattleya acatori. Um, the problem with Cattleya is that you're not really supposed to repot them unless they are in an active growth mode. I've not tried repotting a non-growing or dormant Cattleya just because I don't want to risk it. Um, Look, I'm not one to be superstitious or randomly believe things that are passed down without good reason. However, if somebody is being precautionary and saying, don't repot this plant when it's not in active growth, one, there's no need to because it's not in active growth and it's not, going to take up the pot space, so there's no harm in just letting it be. And two, um, it doesn't cause me any damage or harm to just wait until the plant starts growing again to repot it. If people are worried about whether or not repotting something that's not actively growing is going to cause damage, you want to wait until it's growing. Um, to me, that might not be a well-founded thing to assert. However, it's the consequences of listening to it are not so severe that it's anything we need to worry about. But maybe at some point, if I have a lot of extra Cattleya, I'll do an experiment where I, you know, mess around with the plants when they're not in active growth. Um, but basically, the way Cattleya grows is it has this kind of like elongate rhizome, and it usually grows in one direction. So you'll have the back of the rhizome and then the front of the rhizome that keeps growing outwards. And so if you had a Cattleya in a pot, what will eventually happen is the new growth, and you can tell what the new growth is because it's not as differentiated and it's a lighter color, will be at the very edge of the pot. And when that happens, you want to repot it so that that part is as close to the back of the pot so there's more room to grow forward and, expand onward. And that's what I did with some of these Cattleyas. But that's these guys for everybody. Uh, that's about all I got. There's not too much other exciting news right now. The Phalaenopsis protocoms are just chugging along. They're getting kind of to be a pointy shape, but they're still pretty small. I'm not really going to mess with them. The few that I accidentally disturbed and replated didn't make it, but that was just a very small fraction of what I had. I'm just going to let them run the media a little bit longer before I move them. So there's that, and yeah, if anybody wants to comment whether or not their plants are starting to set out spikes or grow, orchids are kind of funny. I mean, they're tropical plants, although they seem to have distinct seasons when they do more or less growing. And tropical doesn't necessarily mean you're not seasonal. Tropical just means you're not experiencing, temperatures below a certain point. Let me just check on this dendrobium here. Does this guy need some water? I don't water things in here too much because it stays fairly humid and stuff takes forever to dry in there. And I don't want to overwater stuff in there just because fungus gnats and rot will occur. But some of my smaller orchids do dry up quicker in there. And I'll run this guy under a little bit. Ooh, ooh. Let's just see here. That center of the apex there, you can see it has a little bit of greening at that base. That might be a bud of some sort. It looks like it's a lot of dendrobiums flower in the winter, and it is almost winter, so things are probably going to start setting out buds. One of the things is I'm fairly attuned to how things change and differences in appearances of things because I always watch things. So I might notice when a bud or spike gets initiated a little bit earlier than some other people would. Also, being young and having decent eyesight helps with that. But yeah, that's what I got for you guys. Have fun growing orchids.